national emergency at our border.
They need open borders because they need voters. This is a pure power play.
Elizabeth Warren launching her campaign for president.
We need to take power in Washington and put it back in the hands of the people where it belongs.
Virginia lawmakers struggling with an accelerating political crisis. Ralph Northam fending off calls to resign.
We've seen Democrats calling for the defunding of ICE, but Congresswoman Omar wants to completely see the Department of Homeland Security vanish.
A state of emergency in Washington state as a rare snowstorm hits Seattle.
Promise to keep fighting for that cause.
You like that song? You said it right away.
How can we not feel like we're on top of the world? We're on top of the set
here like every other weekend, and when I hear it, I'm like,
that's great. You know why else I'm on top of the world? Yesterday I tweeted at Pizza Hut, and they tweeted back at me. Yesterday was National Pizza Day. This has been under the desk for 24 hours. Yeah, of course it's the same pizza. I took a bite out of this yesterday. I'll take a bite out of it today. Pizza Hut pizza is still good the next morning again.
He just took a bite.
No, this is. Are like, oh, Pete,
It's all fine. That's part of the good thing about Pizza
I'm watching this, and Pete was like, he spent 4 hours yesterday reaching out to Pizza Hut looking for a tweet, and sure enough, they send him a 100. Like he's keeping it at 100 because Pizza Hut loves that you were endorsing them yesterday.
I can die happy. You have a stomach of lead. I mean, I have seen this guy. He ate raw dough yesterday, just like it was a sandwich.
I love preservatives because I feel like it preserves my body.
Yes.
Is that a real thing?
No. We should go to the doctor on Monday morning. Now, I don't know if he has a...
I don't go to the doctor. Ever?
Okay. No. We got to talk about that. I don't know if he has a concrete or a steel stomach, but the president is saying he doesn't care which one he has, but he's getting
got to have something
one way or another, and that's where we start this Sunday morning. The president tweeting out yesterday that he is not giving in. This battle over the border continues. Remember, this bipartisan conference committee is still meeting. The clock is ticking, though, because they have a deadline of this Friday for federal funding to run out for several departments within the government.
That's
so
right.
we could have another partial government shutdown at the end of the week without a deal.
Yeah, and the president tweeting, actually, the Democrats just don't seem to want border security. They are fighting border agents' recommendations. If you believe news reports, they are not offering much for the wall. They look to be making this a campaign issue. The wall will get built one way or the other. Not backing down there, Pete.
Yeah, I think the operative part of that is they're not offering much for the wall. We're hearing information coming out of this bipartisan committee that maybe 1.3 or 2 billion will be thrown in there for fencing or a wall. That's going to be
restrictions.
Well, that's going to be very problematic for supporters of the president who believe the commitment to 5.7 billion, which used to be 25 billion, was the throwdown to build this wall. I don't know what they'll come out with, but my belief is whatever they come out with won't be satisfying to either side, which is a compromise. Right. But if you're the president, you're committed to this, and you have the opportunity for a national emergency, we'll see. Let's see what they present. But this is going to be a pretty important moment.
Well, guess who's still weighing in? Because we haven't heard enough from her already. Hillary Clinton is back at it, and she is saying there's no emergency at the border. Take a listen.
I just don't think you should call national emergencies unless there truly is a national emergency. There's no national emergency at our border. And he's frustrated because he can't even convince his own party to support his requests. And he shouldn't be breaking new ground and causing new precedents. Every Democrat, every Republican wants to do what is right to secure our border. They disagree with his demand that there's only one way to do that.
They disagree. Every Democrat, every Republican wants to do what is right. Not true. No, I mean, like, there are plenty of Democrats and Republicans see this issue fundamentally differently. Should we secure it or not? Do we have sovereignty or not? People are talking about open borders. They just don't. And yesterday we reported on the show from October to January of 2017 to 2018 to 2019, apprehensions up 85% at the border. This is an ongoing problem.
And the Democrat, I mean, she's talking about, oh, he can't get his own party on board. Guess what? Your party was on board just a few years ago. They're all on record talking about how you need border security and how barriers are part of what you need. So what are you even talking about?
You're absolutely right. I was just thinking that we had the President Trump's State of the Union a few days ago. It was a Bill Clinton State of the Union many, many moons ago where he lashed out at illegal immigration and said we need to protect our borders. And you can't be letting all these illegal immigrants taking jobs of hardworking Americans. That was Bill Clinton, her own husband, talking about this in the 90s.
How the mighty have fallen.
It's amazing.
Incredible.
It's unbelievable.
Well, Gallup, the chairman of Gallup, Jim Clifton, and CEO of Gallup, put this out based on surveying they've been doing in South America and Latin America. This is what they've come up with. They've said 42 million seekers of citizenship or asylum are watching to determine exactly when and how the best time to make the move to the United States. This suggests that open borders could potentially attract 42 million Latin Americans, a full 5 million who are planning to move in the next 12 months, say they're moving to the United States. So if we're talking about demand and we're talking about policies, they're just surveying regular folks in Latin America saying, if we can come to America, we're coming. 5 million this year. 42 million potentially?
Right. How is that not an emergency? How is that not something that you have to do something about today? I don't understand how you can look at these stats and look at this polling and look at the footage at the border and not say now is the time to act and not understand why President Trump made this his chief supreme campaign issue and why Democrats need to budge. I'm sorry, you don't get away with saying nothing is happening, there's no emergency when you have numbers like this.
Well, and the president made clear in the State of the Union, he's not talking about shutting the doors to America forever and ever.
Exactly.
He said he wants more legal immigration, but the emphasis on legal. Dan Bongino was on with Judge Jeanine last night saying, look, what Democrats are talking about is not increasing legal immigration. They're talking about open borders. Watch.
Large majorities of the people who are then released, even with these ankle monitors and other monitoring devices, cut them off and disappear for good, effectively creating a de facto open borders situation. Listen, Judge, the left understood a long time ago, they're not stupid, that they've lost on the issues. People want economic liberty, control of their own health care, et cetera, right? So what do? They need open borders because they need voters in it basically an open-ended entitlement state. That's why they're in this. This is a pure power play. This has nothing to do with immigration with them. This is a pure power play on the left.
You can see the stakes are real. The President of the United States will be talking to our own Laura Ingraham tomorrow night. Exclusive interview, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Fox News Channel. Of course, the President will be in El Paso, Texas, talking about all of this. Laura will be down there with him. You will not want to miss it. That's an exclusive interview.
Yeah, we've got the showdown on the border wall funding. A lot of news will be made in that interview. Well, yesterday we talked a lot about this fantastic new Green New Deal coming from this Congresswoman a few miles from here. Fantastic. Well, the President weighed in on the Green New Deal yesterday with this tweet. He said, I think it is very important for the Democrats to press forward with their Green New Deal. It would be great for the so-called carbon footprint to permanently eliminate all planes, cars, cows, oil, gas, and the military, even if no other country would do the same. Brilliant exclamation point.
Yeah, I love that.
He's mocking in part the idea of unilateral disarmament, the idea that the U.S. would just sort of give up on this. Of course you want to make the situation better, but find a way to do it that doesn't destroy our economy, that doesn't say, oh, yeah, we're just going to cut back our military, we're going to end the aviation industry, while China, India, other big polluters are not doing the same.
Yeah, I like that he tweeted that. I mean, this plan was so utterly ridiculous and devoid of common sense and so removed from the rational and the practical that I felt like the only thing he could do here was to laugh at it. I was actually feet up in the air, rolling on the floor.
Your tweet was the first thing I noticed on it, which you had some great commentary on it.
Unicorns, rainbows, it's crazy.
I first saw the resolution that came out that was actually going forth in front of the House. But what other people saw first were the frequently asked questions put out on our website. So the explainer on the website was way better. It was this raw explanation. It's where a lot of this stuff is coming from. Well, they're now having to defend the stuff that came out from their own office, not just the bill, but how they explained it. Last night, or 2 nights ago on Tucker, Robert Hockett, he's an advisor to the Congresswoman from the Bronx, and he was asked about this new deal. And
he was running from it because I saw the interview and he was saying, that's not in our plan. You read it wrong, Tucker. Listen to what he said, and then we'll correct it for the record.
Why would we ever pay people who are, quote, unwilling to work?
We never would, right? And AOC has never said anything like that, right? I think you're referring to some sort of a document that some doctored document that somebody other than us has been circulating.
Oh, I thought that came right from her. That was in the background or from her office, is my understanding.
No. She's actually tweeted it out to laugh at it. If you look at her latest tweets, it seems that apparently some Republicans have put it out there.
They were trying to say this is not real. I was watching it back and forth. Tucker kept pressing. His producers in real time were fact-checking that advisor to Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez and saying, "No, Tucker, this is in the plan." They were as he was
because he was trying to believe. Well, maybe.
Yeah, he was trying to give the guy the benefit of the doubt because he was the advisor to the Congresswoman was running from some of the crazier parts of the plan.
Yes. Yep.
So now the Congresswoman's chief of staff is weighing in and trying to claim that FAQ that you were talking about, frequently asked questions, has been doctored. There separately, she says, is a doctored frequently asked questions floating around and an early draft of an FAQ that was clearly unfinished and that doesn't represent the Green New Deal resolution got published to the website by mistake. Idea was to wait for launch, monitor questions, and rewrite that FAQ before publishing. So I can't even keep up because on one hand, they're telling Tucker on Friday night that's not in the plan. Then they're saying that some of these things on the site were doctored by critics. Then they're actually admitting in that statement, no, we didn't mean to publish it. This was like a draft. And so you can't even follow. They keep changing it because parts of this plan just simply don't add up.
Who would put that even in the draft, that people unwilling to work should get economic security? Even if it wasn't, even let's say it was in the draft and accidentally got published, which, by the way, if you believe that, I have a bridge to sell you. But if you do believe it, this came from somewhere. Somebody wrote it down. Fire that person.
Maybe it's because it's what they really believe.
Right,
and it was exposed.
that's what I'm saying.
Bingo. Earlier drafts are usually an expose of what you really think until you enter polite society or a civic discourse.
Until someone says,
like,
you know what, let's call it Obamacare instead of Medicare for all.
That's a little ridiculous. Like, we can't just talk about cows, you know, doing what they do. Let's take that out. Emissions from the farmhouse.
Let's call it unicorns. Like
unicorns.
Unicorns, rainbows. The wonderful Wizard of Oz is coming, guys. I told you.
You can't claim fake news when you wrote it.
All right, well, we have a big story coming up. Should white male students at Yale University be spied on? One school paper editor says, yeah, they should, to take down their future careers. Diamond and Silk are fired up about that, and they're going to come up live.
Plus, Elizabeth Warren waging class warfare.
Too little accountability for the rich, too little opportunity for everyone else. I say it's time to fight back.
Oh, tell me more, Pocahontas. Is this just a move to get votes? Charles Payne, live. Coming up.
Good to see you, Mike.
That's what a rigged system looks like. Too little accountability for the rich, too little opportunity for everyone else. When I talk about this, some rich guys scream, class warfare. Well, let me tell you something. These same rich guys have been waging class warfare against hardworking people for decades. I say it's time to fight back.
Okay. Senator Elizabeth Warren, who the president effectively dubs Pocahontas, officially launching her campaign, joining fellow hopefuls invoking class warfare as a means to gain votes.
But will it work? Charles Payne is the host of Making Money with Charles Payne on the Fox Business Network. He joins us now to weigh in.
Good
Charles,
morning.
welcome.
Good morning.
So my concern is that this stuff works. It sounds good. Unless you take the time to really process its effect on the economy and otherwise, is this going to appeal to voters?
It might appeal to some voters, but the circumstances certainly at this moment have changed, right? Because it's a talking point that's gone on for well over a century. This is not a new political talking point, but consider where we are right now in this economy. When Elizabeth Warren says too little opportunities, and I'm thinking, well, we got 7 million job openings right now. 7 million. We don't have that many workers. We have more job openings than workers. So you might want to scratch the opportunity part, right? And then you start to talk about wages. I agree. Wages were in the dumps for a long time, particularly over the last 10 years. And 4 of the last 5 months, wages for non-supervisory workers have grown faster than supervisory worker wages. This has not happened in over a decade. So the things that are being promised are actually happening right now. So if you're a voter, you have to say to yourself, something is working. Something magnificent is happening. Over just the last jobs report, 304,000 jobs. And by the way, better paying jobs. You know, Walmart right now has jobs for truck drivers starting at $90,000 a year. Do you know how many nonviolent felons are working? People who had given up on ever having a job ever again are now working. And so maybe it works for some folks. But I think right now it's a bad time for them to go back to this well, although I don't know if they have any other wells.
No, you're right. I actually watched the entire speech. She talked about workers organizing, the 40-hour work week. You know, there was reasons to organize for many years. There was abuses in the workplace, and that was legitimate. Here we are today. She's trying to make that same class warfare argument about wage increases without understanding that this president is actually addressing these very issues.
The economic backdrop that's been provided by the moves by this administration are working for all Americans. You know, I read a really, I think it was a despicable piece in Bloomberg the other day that criticized, you know, where blacks are, for instance. And, you know, where blacks have been vis-a-vis whites in this country on wages, employment, that's been a gulf, an ocean-wide gulf for many, many years. But the ratios even there have shrunk dramatically. We are at the closest ratio of black and white unemployment, the closest ratio of black employment to population ratio to white. So we are seeing a trajectory of all Americans go up. And ironically, blacks, Hispanics, they're actually improving at a faster rate than whites.
Charles, the president made some of those very points in his State of the Union, and you had Democrats not standing for the notion that African-American unemployment is at an all-time low. Democrats did not stand.
I know. You know, we've gotten so sad and so political in this country that there's certain things I think we would all cheer as Americans. There's certain things that, hey, but how can you? I guess if you know, and by the way, you know, I've got friends who say that the economy doesn't feel better, even though they're making more money than they've ever made in their lives. So that's why this kind of stuff resonates, because people will say, well, because it's Trump, I don't feel it, even if they are experiencing it in their own lives. So they go back to this well. It's a very divisive well. And by the way, it could be a very dangerous well to go down if we decide to go fully down this path that's being offered or, you know, promoted to Americans.
All right,
it's
Charles,
a scary thing.
Appreciate you coming in.
You got it, guys.
Wisdom of the Business Network.
All right.
Thank you very much, Charles. Appreciate it. Well, she's doubling down on abolishing ICE.
We're here to say that an agency like ICE does not deserve a dime. That an agency like ICE, which repeatedly and systematically violates human rights, does not deserve a dime. I will not give $1 to black box detention facilities that think that some people in this country are deserving of constitutional protections and that others are not. We are a nation and a land of laws.
Thomas Hodgkin is the sheriff of Bristol County, Massachusetts. He joins us now live with his reaction. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ed. How are you?
Good. I just want you to jump in. I'm doing great, but I want to hear what you have to say about that. Is that factual? Is that the reality of the situation as a law enforcement officer?
Boy, this lady's way out of touch. I got to tell you, Ed, this is going to be catastrophic for our communities throughout the country. Everybody knows that these criminally illegal aliens have, you know, killed innocent people. We got angel moms, dads, now angel children who don't have parents. And frankly, this is the same as saying that in New York City, the city council doesn't like the mayor, so they're going to start releasing MS-13 back out into our communities to victimize more and more people. That's where we're at with this kind of crazy thinking that this new Congresswoman has.
Well, we'll talk about that because you invoke MS-13, and there was an MS-13 gang member right here in New York City, I believe in the Congresswoman's very district, who was now been accused with a horrific murder on a subway here in New York City just in the last week.
Yeah, this is going on all over the country, Ed. And, you know, some of them are more notable than others. Yeah. But there's crimes happening every day and people being victimized. I'm 2,200 miles from the border of Bristol County. And we're the second most common place to find fentanyl. We have the 7th highest drug overdose rate. And these drugs, 95 or 90% of them are coming across the southern border. So this idea of her saying that we need to put these traffickers and these MS-13 members back in our community to wreak more havoc is outrageous. Her job is to protect the people of our communities and protect the citizens of this nation. And she's undermining law enforcement. She's putting us all in a very dangerous situation, all of law enforcement, and telling ICE that they're not going to have the money to work in the interior with us is just absolutely, it's crazy.
So, Sheriff, you have a Democratic Speaker of the House in Nancy Pelosi who has said, I'll give $1 to a wall, and a new Democratic Congresswoman who's been getting a lot of attention saying, I will give not $1 to ICE. What would a strategy like that do to a community like yours?
It will devastate our community. We'll have these criminally illegal aliens just roaming freely around and hands off. And look, this is all about politics. Everybody knows it. How does any elected official in this nation completely ignore the fact that we have angel moms and dads whose kids have died and know that more are going to happen by releasing criminal illegal aliens back in the community? I've got 220 illegals in a detention center I built for ICE.
Yeah.
And so I'm well aware of how dangerous these people are and what will happen.
All right. Sheriff Thomas Hodgkin, we certainly appreciate your service every day in trying to protect your community and communities all around this great country.
Thanks, Ed. Have a great day.
Good to see you, sir.
You too.
A Yale University newspaper editor calling for students to spy, yes, spy on fellow white male college students in order to take them out in their future careers. Diamond and Silk are fired up about this op-ed. They join us live with their reaction next. And you've seen Robert Francis Beto O'Rourke go to the dentist and Elizabeth Warren have a beer on social media. Now John Kasich, get this, he's giving yoga tips.
My first yoga class today. Yeah, it was pretty hard, pretty challenging, but I kind of figured out it's not about me versus the world.
Beautiful shot.
That is gorgeous.
Never heard that song before.
I have heard it.
You have?
I feel like I've danced to it somewhere, someplace.
Foggy memory at some point. Beautiful shot, though. Speaking of two beautiful people, Diamond and Silk, YouTube stars, Trump supporters, and Fox Nation hosts. Diamond and Silk, thank you for being here this morning. I have to ask you, yesterday was National Pizza Day. I'm declaring it National Pizza Weekend.
Oh, boy.
Pizza Hut is my favorite. Do you love Pizza Hut?
Okay, I like
Papa John's?
Yes,
Okay.
I love
You can say it.
It's okay.
It's all
I love
good.
Papa John.
Okay, Papa John's is also outstanding. So you're welcome here. That's a fair answer. And we caught you off guard. Sorry about that. Thank you for joining us. So you're following what's going on in Virginia, the rolling Democrat disaster. Well, Ralph Northam, the governor, came out and said, I'm staying, and this is what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to read a quote from the governor. Northam said, this is from the Washington Post, Northam said that he is setting up a reconciliation tour that will take him around the state to engage in conversations about race and healing, but that he had no details yet. He said, quote, I really do believe that there's a calling for all of us, and the fact that this happened this year on the 400th anniversary of the first Africans arriving in Virginia to be sold into slavery, I think there's a reason for that, Northam said. So he's going to make the cause of his governorship race relations for the next 3 years. What do you make of this?
Well, first of all, I think Northam should have stepped down when he implied that babies should be killed outside of the womb. That's the first thing. Second thing, he can do all the touring he wants of Virginia. Black people are not going to vote. He will never get at 80% of black people voting for him again. Because when they look at that yearbook photo, they don't look at him as the one being in blackface.
Right.
They're seeing him as the one that's the Ku Klux Klansman. That's
right.
the second thing.
Sure.
So he can do all the touring he wants. He do need to step down.
Yeah.
For implying that we should kill babies.
Ladies, and as you know, Governor Northam, there's only a single term in the Commonwealth of Virginia, so he can't run for re-election. But I think, are you trying to make a broader point about the environment, say, for President Trump in Virginia, which is supposed to be a swing state? It's been trending Democratic. What do you think the prospects are in 2020 for the president with this environment now, all these Democrats in trouble?
Well, I believe that this state is going to go red.
That's right.
Because people are looking at the Democrat Party and they're full of racism. And we've been saying this here for what? Ever since 2015
That's
about
right.
this here party. The party of Jim Crow, the party of slavery. And now it's playing out. And
Right.
then when you look at them eating themselves, eating their own,
Yes.
you got them eating on the lieutenant governor. Now allegations and accusations have come out on him. What people need to understand, we are a republic governed by laws. And so in this country, you are supposed to be given due process.
That's right.
You are innocent and to proven guilty, not the other way around. So it's interesting in seeing the Democrat Party eat themselves. They set the bar so high they can't reach it. They set it so low they can't go under it. So they hide behind the bars because they don't know how to come out. But if this was a Republican, if this was going on with Republicans, all chains and fences would have broke loose through every corner of this country.
That's right.
Ladies, I got to get to another hot story right now going on with Yale University. Has a lot of people fired up. The Yale University newspaper editor is urging students to spy on white male classmates. And the op-ed reads in part, When I'm watching the white boy, who is now a white man by this point, on CNN, I'll remember a racist remark that he said, an unintentional utterance that he made when he had one drink too many at a frat party during sophomore year. I'll recall a message that he accidentally left open on a computer when he forgot to log out of iMessage, where he linked a woman's body to a particularly large animal. I'll kick myself for forgetting to screenshot the evidence. And when I'm watching him smile that smile, I'll think that I could have stopped it. What do you make of this op-ed?
Oh, I think that is so sad.
It's really
to group
sad.
A race of people in one box, and then males, to say white males, we should spy on them because they may grow to go to be something huge, and then we can use this against them. That is so sad. Well, then what about the black males? What about the Hispanic males? What about the Asian males? I mean, it's crazy to me.
That's right.
That, but you know what? Whenever you have people spying on people, always look at the ones that's doing the spying. What's in your closet that you trying to hide? And the person that wrote this op-ed, we need to start looking at him. And Yale, who let this go on, maybe we need to start looking at the people higher up at Yale for even allowing this here. Discrimination, that's what I call it. Straight discrimination.
And they're not Inspector Gadgets, okay? What they need to be doing there, they need to be getting their education and moving forward in life.
Well, what is the mindset, briefly, that someone, this is an op-ed, this was written out. White boy, the white man. What is that mindset that says, I'm going to write this and that's how I'm going to define somebody?
Well, what is the mindset of everybody going against the white man, the white boy? Well, just think about that for a minute. Why are we stereotyping and putting each other against each other? And, we got to watch this group of people. See, that's what they did back in slavery. When they say, the Democrats, we got to watch the black people. And I see the same thing playing out with our white men. For what? Why are they trying to put us against each other? See, this is what they do when they push socialism. And then now they try to divide us, pick us apart, and put us against each other and looking at each other as if we're all doing something wrong. It's so sad. It's what it is, and it's sickening.
It really is.
Thank you, ladies. Always passionate. Love hearing what you have to say.
And it's okay that you love Papa John's. Papa John's is good, too.
He will let it slide. Thanks. All right, we're going to turn to some headlines for you this morning. Police uncover a secret underground shooting range stocked with weapons and thousands of rounds of ammo in California. Officers discovered the hideaway while searching the home of a known gang member. Police say they seized all evidence and took the suspects into custody. Beto O'Rourke posted a visit to the dentist and Elizabeth Warren grabbed a beer. Now another possible presidential contender is trying to connect on social media.
Well, I took my first yoga class today. It was pretty hard, pretty challenging. I got to continue because change is really good. It keeps you young. It has you looking into the future.
We need a yoga class.
I love it.
That's lame.
Former Ohio Republican Governor John Kasich is considering challenging President Trump in 2020. There you go. A new White House study shows President Trump's Obamacare reforms will save Americans $450 billion over the next decade. The reforms include repealing the Obamacare individual mandate and expanding short-term insurance plans. Obamacare supporters fear the reforms would raise premiums. The study shows the changes will save the government $185 billion. I say billion, by the way. Your heartfelt messages have been pouring in for our dear friend Bob Massey. The Property Man host passed away this week after a battle with cancer. He was 67 years old. Many of you want to know how to send condolences. Well, Bob's family has asked you to donate in his name to organizations close to his heart. You can give to Building Homes for Heroes or the Nevada Childhood Cancer Foundation. We posted the information on foxandfriends.com. And those are your headlines.
Wonderful causes for a great man, no doubt about it.
Who is greatly missed.
All right. Rick, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. There's a lot of weather going on this week for almost everybody across the country. So one thing, the cold has been really kind of settling down in across parts of the lower 48. It retreats a little bit back up towards the north, but still, take a look at this. Feels like minus 22 in Fargo, minus 23 in Billings, down towards Florida, you're 72 in Miami. That cold air not making its way down there at all, but pretty much everybody else getting some of this. Also, look at this, a big batch of precipitation here. None of this is real heavy just yet, but it will become more so tomorrow and cause some problems across parts of the central areas of the country. But notice this morning some rain around Memphis, go up towards parts of Missouri, and you've got some freezing rain, and to the north of that, a little bit of snow. all of this action that we've seen out across the West, that is going to move towards the Central Plains, and it will become more active throughout this week. But parts of the West is going to be getting just really pummeled with rain and snow. Also, look at that right there across parts of the central Ohio, or the lower Ohio River Valley, central Mississippi River Valley. You're going to be talking about some flooding this week, 3 to 5 inches of rain. And because of that, we have flood advisories in effect. Out across the West, that's where we have all of the snow. We're probably going to see another 5 to 6 feet of snow piling up.
You are depressing.
Wow.
I'm flying to Minnesota right after the show.
Oh, I mean, it's February, Pete.
I know.
Bring your snow boots.
And I'm from, I know, but it's like negative
how many years
1,000.
did you live there?
Exactly.
Long enough to know what
All
you're
right.
getting into when you go there in February.
Buckle up, Pete.
Yeah.
All right. Meanwhile, freshman Congresswoman Ilhan Omar calling to defund Homeland Security, the entire department, just 1 hour after insisting workers get back pay. Doesn't seem like she understands that the TSA is actually part of the Department of Homeland Security, and that's what...
Welcome back. Well, some quick headlines for you. Actor Harrison Ford wants you to join the fight against climate change. Harrison issuing the warning before speaking at this year's World Government Summit. Apparently there is such a thing, the World Government Summit. May we never be a part of it in Dubai. And one of the most memorable...
Ilhan Omar tweeted, quote, "This is an outrage. I'm hearing from TSA workers back in Minnesota who still haven't received back pay after the shutdown. All workers affected by the shutdown, including contractors, deserve back pay."
Okay, well, that sounds reasonable. But an hour later, she tweeted, "When Democrats stood our ground last month, we proved that individual number one," she was taking a shot at the president, "does not have the public support to ram his hateful wall through Congress. Let's stand firm," she said, "not $1 for DHS." Here to react, former U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of Transportation, Oliver McGee. Good morning, Oliver.
Good morning, Oliver.
So,
good morning, Ed and Jedediah.
She doesn't seem to understand that if you want to get back pay and you want to defend the country, these are the same people who work for the DHS. So how are you going to defund the Department of Homeland Security?
Well, I always say I like my borders like my sodas with lots of ice with a little bit of Homeland Security on top. This is the third largest agency in the government, Ed. It is $45 billion, and it's a consolidation merger of 22 federal agencies after 9/11. This agency is a huge, huge part of the federal government, and Representative Omar is thinking about cutting it. That's crazy. This thing includes the Secret Service, it includes TSA, it includes ICE, it includes border control. But more importantly, it's about terrorism mitigation. It's about critical infrastructure in cyberspace. Even as she's tweeting on her iPhone, this agency protects the use of her iPhone and makes sure it's safe and secure. But most of all, it's about nuclear, biological, and chemical weapons of mass destruction control. Basically, tearing down the Homeland Security is basically taking down the USS Enterprise.
It's pretty remarkable.
And then she's taking all shields down.
Yeah, I mean, so it's interesting. Democrats have gone from abolishing ICE to now the Department of Homeland Security. It's in its entirety, which you know reference many of the aspects of the department, including FEMA, by the way. So is this just not? Does she just not know, or is she kind of showing us the real cards by slipping up? Is this kind of like a Freudian slip here?
No, I don't think it's a Freudian slip, Jedediah. I think it's really all about what President Trump was saying in the State of the Union address. The far left has just gone really stuck on socialism, and most of the rest of America is choosing to be great with America. So we really want to have our Homeland Security and border security, and we want our wall. We spent $150 billion to fund Iran under Obama. We can afford $5 billion to give Donald Trump his Great Wall. So this is really about politics as usual on the left, and they're just trying to get clickbait.
All right, Oliver McGee, appreciate it. One thing to get clickbait, another thing to want to defund basically a department that keeps all of us safe. We really appreciate you bringing some facts this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, actor Rob Lowe now deleting a tweet that took a jab at Elizabeth Warren. That's because the Twitter mob is going after him in full force. We'll take a look and let you decide next hour.
And from bracketology to barketology, the Westminster Kennel Club.
2 nights, 7 groups, nearly 3,000 dogs, and one big prize. For the 4th year in a row, the Purina Pro Plan is hosting the $1 million Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show Bracket Challenge, where dog lovers and sports fans can enter for a chance to win big. This year, Purina has partnered with singer and dog owner Nick Lachey. He joins us now. Love dogs.
Love dogs.
Good
combination. Have my own. Very good combination. I think there's a lot of people out there like me. So obviously, we all know when you have a little skin in the game's a little more fun. I know you've probably filled out a bracket every time March Madness comes around. Well, this is our dog sporting version of that. Instead of being a bracketologist, today I'm the barkatologist.
It's what you always aspire to, barkatologist. It's a good title.
So yeah, this is a chance to win $1 million. It's so easy to do. Go to ProPlanBracket.com. You enter your picks, as I've done here, and a chance to win $1 million.
So folks might not even know about this. So the final show we see on TV, it's
next
at
week.
Madison Square Garden. Yep, but you've got the hound category, toy, non-sporting.
Yep.
I know nothing about the categories, but when you go to the website, you can look at the different dogs.
So each category has got multiple breeds within the group.
Yep.
So you pick one winner of the group, pick your winning breed in each group, as you see mine are listed here, and then of course you pick your best in show pick, and that completes your bracket.
A lot of people pick their basketball NCAA brackets. It's like I like their uniforms, or their team name.
Right.
Like you can get creative with.
Like the end of the breed kind of looks like Cincinnati, so it has a little bit of a hometown feel to me. But all my picks kind of mean something to me. Like my dog Wookie is half Yorkie, so I had to go with the Yorkshire Terrier. Make it personal.
You got a dog named Wookie.
Wookie.
Very cool.
He looked like Chewbacca when he was a puppy, so we named him Wookie. My brother's first dog was a German Shepherd, so my first nephew, so to speak, was a German Shepherd, so I went with the Shepherd there.
Why'd you go with Siberian Husky for your winner?
Well, that's actually the most personal to me because I had a Siberian growing up named Igloo, and that's actually been since 1980. Was the only time a Siberian Husky has ever won Best in Show, so I kind of feel like it's time for the Siberian to come back around.
I think that's a good call. Now, we've got 3 dogs here. We don't know them. Who would be your Best in Show be of the 3 here, Nick? I just want to
I've only known them a short time, but I feel like the Border Terrier here in the middle and I have really truly bonded. Yeah, we've made a connection, and so I give a slight edge to my buddy there in the middle.
I'm going to go with my guy on the left here.
Yeah, that's
really
Uzi.
Aerodynamic.
That's Uzi, yes.
Yeah.
Very aerodynamic.
Yeah, like ready.
And he's got a nice coat.
Yes.
No, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, people go on, just have fun with it. Like mine are all personal picks. They all mean something to me personally. Have some fun with it. Chance
fun
to
with the family. It's like that you only get to do the NCAA tournament once. By the way, Barack Obama famously in the White House would sign his bracket.
Remember this.
What?
Wow.
I have a Sharpie for you. I'm hoping you might actually sign our bracket.
Where's the good signer spot? Right here?
Right there, yeah.
All right, here we go. You see my horrible signature on
there it is.
There
now it's official. Aha! Absolutely. What's the website again so folks can check it out?
It's ProPlanBracket.com.
ProPlanBracket.com. Yep. You get to keep that Sharpie.
Thank you, bud. Parting gift. Appreciate that.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us. And check it out. The Best in Show. These brackets can be submitted until 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday, February 11th. I mean, who doesn't love Nick Lachey? Still ahead, we've got Tammy Bruce, Mike Huckabee, Anthony Scaramucci. The Mooch is here, and we've got that exclusive with Matt Goldstein coming up as well. Stay with us.
The Trump administration not backing down in its fight for a border wall.
Every Democrat, every Republican wants to do what is right to secure our border. There's no national emergency at our border.
They need open borders because they need voters. This is a pure power play.
Elizabeth Warren launching her campaign for president.
We need to take power in Washington and put it back in the hands of the people where it belongs.
Virginia lawmakers struggling with an accelerating political crisis. Ralph Northam fending off calls to resign.
We've seen Democrats calling for the defunding of ICE, but Congresswoman Omar wants to completely see the Department of Homeland Security vanish.
A state of emergency in Washington state as a rare snowstorm hits Seattle.
Promise to keep fighting for that cause.
You like that song? You said it right away.
How can we not feel like we're on top of the world? We're on top of the set
here like every other weekend, and when I hear it, I'm like,
that's great. You know why else I'm on top of the world? Yesterday I tweeted at Pizza Hut, and they tweeted back at me. Yesterday was National Pizza Day. This has been under the desk For 24.
pizza?
Yeah, of course it's the same pizza. I took a bite out of this yesterday. I'll take a bite out of it today. Pizza Hut pizza is still good the next morning
Wait,
again.
He just took a bite.
He
too.
actually,
I was looking away.
people downstairs are like, oh, Pete,
It's all fine. That's part of the good thing
So
about
I'm
Pizza Hut.
watching this, and Pete was like, he spent 4 hours yesterday reaching out to Pizza Hut looking for a tweet, and sure enough, they send him a 100. Like he's keeping it at 100 because Pizza Hut loves that you were endorsing them yesterday.
Can I just say, you have a stomach of lead. I mean,
I do.
I have seen this guy. He ate raw dough yesterday, just like it was a sandwich.